Alright guys, so there's been a lot of changes in Celsius within this last week, and now we find out that Celsius's proof of claims are required. If you want to maximize your claim, maximize the return that you're going to get from this whole entire Celsius debacle, you have to file a proof of claim. So we're going to talk more about that in this entire video, so you don't want to miss it. Alright guys, so this is going to be a full recap during the last 2 weeks of March 2023, and basically there's a lot that's up in the air, but we're just going to try to consolidate it into like a 5-minute video. So first things first, I went through all the live streams and AMAs with Simon Dixon, got some really good information out of them, and I feel like right now Simon Dixon is a much better source of information than the UCC, because I also watched their AMA and got basically nothing out of that. So let's get to it. So with regards to 1099s, right, taxes, we know that throughout this whole entire process, Celsius has basically been paying us fake yield, and on that fake yield, before the hearings, we had to basically pay taxes on those fake yields. Now that they determined that, well, those coins didn't really belong to us, we have to amend those 1099s. Well, when I say we, I mean Celsius. So what you're going to get is an amendment for your 1099s. So it's basically going to adjust your tax numbers, but if you're hoping for a big difference on the amount of taxes you're going to have to pay, don't, because the adjustment is likely going to be very, very small. On top of that, like I say in the title of this video, now after everything that came out, you are now required to file a proof of claim with Celsius, because they have determined that creditors, specifically earned creditors, can only really have a claim against Celsius Network LLC. LLC for being the one company that is in the States, right? Celsius Network Limited, when they use limited, that means the UK entity. So we don't have a claim on that. So as per the UCC, apparently now you'll have to file a proof of claim against Celsius Network LLC and various entities in order to get the kind of recovery that you want. Again, I'm going to repeat this for redundancy and for clarity. For those of us who are retail customers, if we use the Celsius platform like we use their app on the web or their phone app, then chances are you worked with Celsius Network LLC, which is an American part as far as I understand, because a lot of this is super confusing and all of the lawyers that we're paying for aren't making this any clearer than they should. And Celsius Network Limited is the UK part, which was invested into by institutions and shareholders and things like that. The UCC also suggested that we should file additional claims for fraud, negligence, and misrepresentation. And I've already gone through this in all of my other proof of claim tutorials for Celsius, so if you haven't checked them out, please check them out. Simon Dixon on his video noted that, you know, when it comes to investing, when Celsius invested their client funds without the proper licenses and them neglecting US cease and desist orders from various states, that is a form of negligence. When it came to Alex Machinsky lying on AMAs, right, the Series B mining, those are all misrepresentation. And the fake yield that they were showing us and the insider trading that was happening between the executives like Machinsky, Daniel S. Leon, and people like that, that is fraud. So to put it simply, what Alex Machinsky tried to do was he tried to fill a hole, and that hole was created by fraud, right? Because he was doing a lot of insider trading. And that hole was made through misrepresentation because they were showing that as fake yields to the customers who deposited funds with Celsius. So that is not the worst part. The worst part is that Alex Machinsky is the majority shareholder and he's still a director of Celsius Network Inc. So you might be asking, what is Celsius Network Inc? We already have Celsius Network LLC, Celsius Network Limited. We also now have this Celsius Network Inc. So Celsius Network Inc. is the parent company of everything, including LLC and Limited. You can see it that way. And when they fired Alex Machinsky, Machinsky wasn't fired from being a director of Celsius Network Inc., which is the overlord, and he's the majority shareholder. So what he did is he tried to file a claim for Celsius Network Inc. So what he's doing is he's trying to capture all the shareholder value for himself zero everything out, doesn't care, but he still owned the shares. And with those shares, he wants all the money, the shareholder value associated with those shares. So how it ended up being is that we creditors can only go after Celsius Network LLC according to the judge's ruling last week. Only one of Celsius Network Inc.'s subsidiaries, whereas Alex gets to go after everything because he's the majority shareholder of Celsius Network Inc. So guys, this is the scam of the century. So for earned customers, and depending on the classes you're in, you have to look into it, but I know because I'm an earned myself, we'll have to file against Celsius Network LLC only because the other entities that are part of Celsius, we can't get a hold of them. And then after that, we'll have to make additional claims for fraud, negligence, misrepresentations. We can also file against the other various entities that we might be related to, because I know that for a fact that I believe borrowers and lenders, they file against a different entity. They're not filing against Celsius Network LLC, but a different entity, and you'll have to look at the straddle documents in order to see who you're filing against. But know that the examiner report is going to be used a heck of a lot as evidence for the negligence, fraud, and misrepresentation that was documented as the examiner report has laid out. So I don't know if you've been keeping up with the Celsius UCC Twitter Spaces. I listen to every single one, so if you want to get the gist of it, then I don't know, you might want to consider subscribing. But the latest one from March 30th basically just repeats what Simon Dixon has already told us. The court has decided that creditors can only have claims against Celsius Network LLC, like I just said, and the UCC doesn't agree with that, and they're filing an appeal against that. Some other things that the UCC has also told us is that don't rely on the UCC to file a claim for you, because that is not their job, and the chances are that they won't do it for you because they're not your lawyers. They won't file anything for you. You have to do that by yourself, and if you want to hire a lawyer to do that for you, you can hire a lawyer. But I'm gonna go through a little bit later, like maybe 2 minutes later, that the community is all working together such that they're creating some sort of open source document so that you don't have to hire a lawyer, because some of us have our life savings and can't afford a lawyer because Machinsky screwed us that way. One important thing that I want to get across, and this is the third time, guys, is that you must go and file a proof of claim against Celsius Network LLC and any related entities by the bar date, because if you submit on the bar date or after, your claims will be disallowed. They'll just be thrown in the trash can. And aside from that, the entire UCC meeting, there was no added value other than what Simon has already told us in his video and his AMAs. Like, honestly, I don't know why we're paying the UCC instead of Simon at this point. So yeah, guys, make sure to follow Simon Dixon on Twitter because you're gonna get a lot of information. A lot of the tweets that UCC have been giving has been pretty lackluster. They don't really tell us much. They lack a lot of transparency. And even this next one that we'll talk about with the Celsius's filed plan for reorganization for the NovaWolf deal, I looked through both of their references and they basically tell you a lot of nothing, which I will highlight what you need to know in the next minute. Okay, so with the Celsius plan for the NovaWolf deal, what's going to happen is that their disclosure statement is going to have to be filed by April 12th of 2023. And what a disclosure statement is that it's just a statement that provides us, creditors, with adequate info for us to make a proper decision as to vote for the plan or reject the plan. And it's all just part of the bankruptcy process, which is a scam. Now, for creditors, voting on the plan really depends on whether the court approves of the plan first. And the hearing for that approval of the disclosure statement is set for May 10, 5 p.m. Eastern time. So until that time, we're basically sitting on our hands, except for the fact that you have to file your proof of claim now. The disclosure statement or the plan will tell us about the distribution of the remaining crypto that Celsius has, and about more information about NewCo and its business structures. And what you're going to get back is really going to be dependent on what class you're in, whether you're an earned customer, a custody, withhold, whether you're a borrower or lender. It all depends on what class you're in. We won't get into details here because that's all been described in my past videos and a lot of Simon Dixon's videos. If so, you haven't watched those yet, make sure to rewatch those, because all I'm trying to do here is keep this video short for the update of the month. Alright guys, so to make our lives much easier, Crypto Hunter 0x is going to open an open source claims template and FAQ. And I'm going to drop the links to all of this in the references in the description. Make sure to check it out. Again, this is not legal advice, but they're gonna try to make it so that we don't need to hire an attorney, because a lot of us can't afford an attorney in order to file these claims for us, right? I mean, we've already been hit hard. Why do you keep trying to screw the little guy over? But anyways, there's this document that I'm going to also share in the link below. He also has this linked out here. And this document is something that we should read over. And you do not need a lawyer, as they say, but everybody's going to try to contribute to this so that we can do all this, file a claim without needing an attorney to file a claim, right? So read through this. There's a lot of steps here. Well, not as many steps as I thought, but they made it really clear. It's better than the documents that are in Straddle. It's very clear, such that a third grader can read through it, because I read through these documents. I understand basically like 5% of them. So that's what we're paying the UCC and all these lawyers for, to make things that we can't read so they can screw us over. There's not a lot that we can do right now other than sit on our hands, because the bar date for filing the proof of claim is April 28th. And we're really gonna look to file that proof of claim like a week before, because there's gonna be a lot of activity on getting to know how to file that proof of claim, because they set the filing at April 28th, but it's April 1 now, and nobody has any idea how to file that proof of claim. Does that seem reasonable to you? No, it doesn't. So it really feels like that the lawyers and the courts, they're all against the little person. They're all trying to screw us over. I mean, even the document itself, written in legalese, no normal average person can read that, right? I understand like 5% of that. So I really hope that this video is more understandable, more clear for you, because I went through all the AMAs and all the Twitter spaces so I could help you guys save time and know what to do. Even though I wouldn't say that everything that I understand is correct, but I'm hoping to try to make this process easier for the rest of the community. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like and subscribe, and make sure to watch the video on how to file a proof of claim if you haven't. It is already over on how to file a proof of claim that way, but if it's the same way on filing a proof of claim as I did before, as I showed you before, then it's good to be prepared rather than not prepared when it comes time to file your proof of claim.